Hi, and welcome to the Social Angle, a podcast that helps promo pros gain an edge in the social media realm. I'm digital content director Vinnie Driscoll, and on this episode, I am joined by Kevin Walsh, president of Showdown Displays, to discuss the supplier's lovable ninja mascot named Dash. Are mascots an effective marketing investment? What impact has Dash had on the business, and who's under that ninja mask at trade shows? We're about to find out. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, Vinny, thanks for having me on, and thank you for bringing up such a topic that's near and dear to our hearts. Certainly mine, but all of the Showdown family.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been to the show many times, and there's one, consistent in terms of mascot promo, right? But when I walk the floors, I expect to see more mascots, and the only one that I ever see at shows that is consistent on a regular basis is Dash, and I'm always taking photos with Dash. I have Dash pictures from going way back to like 2015, 2016, I believe. So to me, I feel like you know that leaves an impression on me. So I wanted to do a podcast on mascots because I feel like not only do I see Dash at those shows, but I also see Dash on your social media. I see Dash in your marketing. So Dash is a big part of Showdown Displays. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we get into the questions, can you give me a brief intro of who you are and how long you've been in the promo industry?
Absolutely. So my name is Kevin Walsh. I am the president of Showdown Displays, and I have been here with Showdown since 2011. But I've been in the promotional space since 1987, and effectively had three different careers. My first 10 years was on the printing side of the industry, where I did everything from sports licensed product and concert merchandise. Those are some fun years. And
Sure.
then I moved on the supplier side of that, where I worked for a very large apparel manufacturer and would sell to the Alpha Broders and the NESs of the world way
Okay.
back in the early 2000s. And since 2011, I hung up my apparel skates, so to speak, and have been part of the Showdown crew since then. And it's been a heck of a ride, is all I can tell you.
Wow. So you're coming up on 40 years. It sounds like 35
Yeah,
years in the
we're
industry.
going to try to keep it on the DL. Let's go 36. Let's start
Okay,
with that.
36, 36 years. Yeah, that's a lot of promo knowledge for sure. So you definitely have the experience. And most people that I talk to in this industry on this podcast, they're long timers. They've been in the industry for a long time. I'm 16 years. There'll be 16 in December. So there's a lot of longevity in this industry, and even for people who leave the industry, they end up coming back. They seem to have a lot of great connections, and they love it.
I really like the fact, the community within this industry is
Mhm.
something that I think we all enjoy. And the fact that my career is a great example of you can be in and around the industry and perform different functions, whether it be in embellishment and decorator or manufacturing of apparel or move to the hard goods. There's many different roles to play here, and I've been very pleased and proud of what we've been able to accomplish here at Showdown. And I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that I'm also a board member of PPAI. I'm actually currently the chair of the PPAI board and have enjoyed my time and getting to know even more people through that
Sure,
process too.
sure. And a lot of people have those, very multifaceted roles in this industry. I've noticed that, they work distributor side, they work supplier side. They've done a lot of, different tasks in this industry. And that gives them a really well-rounded knowledge of how this industry works, which when I first started, I was like, I was confused. Sometimes I'm still confused with the way this industry works because it is a complex, industry. There's an ecosystem that exists, and
Yeah.
if you're able to kind of jump into each side of that, you get a very great broad understanding of how it works. So, Kevin, we're going to talk about Dash, and that's what we're here for. Dash, your mascot. So I have a ton of questions. I could probably talk to you for an hour. Um, so here are a few questions I have right off the top of my head about your mascot named Dash. How long has Dash been part of the Showdown Displays team?
That's a great question. And I spent some time talking with our marketing team about that because I think the interesting thing about Dash is he just didn't appear.
Hmm.
He crept into our marketing plan over the course of many different years. Um, and in order to give you the essence of how we came up with Dash and why Dash is a ninja, I guess I'll go back to the very inception of this whole thing. We were trying to come up with a personality, an icon that would communicate to our reseller partners our role really in the supply chain. And one of the things that Showdown believes themselves to be is an expert in our product category. So being able to provide expertise and precision to what we do, and B, to be able to operate in the background as
Sure.
our distributor's silent partner. So
Oh, I love
when we
that. Yeah.
started talking about being a distributor's silent partner and bringing skills and expertise to the role, the idea of a ninja actually just manifested because of their quiet, skillful behavior, and how you're really not supposed to see ninjas and
Right.
not even hear them. They operate in the dark. So that is really I'm going to say the genesis of where Dash came from, and he originally, I should say, they originally manifested as just a cartoon character in our advertising, in our e-blasts, in our social media, on our website. You would see Dash creeping through different advertisements that we're
Sure.
running, and then also behaving in a playful manner in those different advertising. So that was really from, I'm going to call that 14-ish,
Okay.
2014 through 2017.
Okay.
And then in the fall of 2017, the marketing team and myself came up with this brilliant idea that what if we actually created an actual mascot of Dash, and
Okay.
that Dash could appear and interact with our customers. And the very first, to put the mark on this, the very first event that an in-person Dash mascot showed up for was January 2018 at the Orlando ASI show,
Okay.
where we kicked it off. And the response to having a mascot was overwhelming. As you mentioned, there are very few mascots in an industry that is known for its creativity.
Sure.
Certainly Promo, the exclamation point for ASI, and then the new Plus for ESP Plus that's come out. Those are two of the more notable ones. But the Dash in-person mascot has been a overwhelming success for us. And I'm going to keep talking here for just
Sure, go
one more
for it.
second, Vinnie, because what we tried to do, in addition to allowing people to interact with Dash, is we created little keepsakes that allowed them to collect and take Dash back with them. And in this case, this was our second year of collectible. This is the kicking Dash, but there were the stomping Dash, which was the first year that it was out, and then there is the Zen Dash, where he's just enjoying some peaceful time. And that ability to not just interact with the personality at the show, but then to take something back to their office,
Sure.
it's a way to really create more engagement. I can tell you some more about that, but I'll pause here and see what other questions you have.
Yeah, I knew I had met Dash at a show in the teens. You said 18 was the first. I believe that's probably the first time that I met Dash. Left an impression on me. I remember taking photos with Dash. Like you said, it makes an impression on your customers. Now, you said that Dash, the conception of Dash is about 10 years old. Started to creep into your marketing. And I love that you explained that the reason that it's a ninja is because you're the stealthy silent partner behind the scenes, helping your distributor partner. That's awesome. I couldn't guess. I was trying to guess, why is it a ninja? Why? Now it makes perfect sense. Now, why the name Dash?
Well, that's actually a wonderful question. So in January, actually the first quarter of 2018, we didn't have a name for Dash. So we actually asked our reseller partners, and over the course of 90 days, really the biggest shows of the year, people were able to submit their names in for Dash. And we narrowed that down and ultimately had a final vote over 3 different names, and Dash was the winner.
Oh,
We
okay.
were somewhat partial to it because Showdown likes to think of themselves as a very swift, manufacturer. We
Mhm.
have a number of products that you can purchase within 24 and 48 hours. So lead times are very important to our customers and our customer's customer. So Dash made a double entendre, if you will, there that allowed us to play off of
Sure.
that as well.
I love it. I love it. Now I know that Dash is swift. It's a synonym for being swift. So you actually said something earlier. You said they. Are you not revealing the gender of Dash? Is Dash a guy or a woman? And who wears the actual costumes at the shows?
So there's a couple questions in there. First, so um, uh, it's suffice to say that Dash identifies firmly as a ninja
Oh,
and
okay.
remains such. So um, the person who actually occupies Dash varies from time to time. In
Hmm.
fact, I have been in the Dash
Oh,
costume
have you?
before, which is a question many people ask. Um, not frequently, but a few times, anyways. But the individual who's in it varies. And typically, for our larger shows, we'll actually even employ and hire talent,
Okay.
gymnasts and the like that can stay active for the amount of time. If you can imagine being inside a contained space
Sure.
with a power pack, a fan, and uh, and jumping up down, doing splits and the like,
Hmm.
it gets pretty hot over a course of
Sure.
time. So we've done everything from employees of Showdown, myself included,
Hmm.
as I mentioned, as well as a professional talent.
Yeah, so I've heard rumors that our mascot promo at ASA shows is actually Tim Andrews. I cannot confirm nor deny that that is the case, but we do keep it very secret who dons those costumes for us. Um, so yeah, that's awesome, and it's cool that you actually hire because, like you said, people don't realize at these shows well, when they're at the shows they understand how much walking, especially from um, you know the distributor side, how much walking you do around the aisles. Everybody does a lot of walking, including the suppliers. But the mascots, they have to be in these costumes. It's very, very warm. Uh, Doing a lot of walking. Then you have to think about going to the bathroom and all that. Like it's almost like a Disney character, in Orlando or in California, where you have to wear those heavy things. You can't just expect that's going to be an easy job. So I think that's interesting to learn that you actually hire people to do that.
Well, and to add to that, you'll need to have a host as well.
Mm,
So Dash doesn't travel anywhere, nor does Promo, from my experience, anyways, without a handler. And
mm,
that handler is always a Showdown employee, just so we're making sure the brand
right.
messages are consistent. But
Sure.
it is um, somewhat of a helpless position to be inside a mascot costume if someone wants to take advantage of that. So that's why I would heartily encourage anyone who is going to go down the mascot path to always have a handler with them.
Sure, sure. Right. You have to make sure that, not only are you making sure that they're representing the brand correctly, but again, it's a lot of work for them, and they have to be sort of monitored, making sure that they're okay as well. So let me talk to you about. You mentioned something earlier about mascots not being a very prominent uh, marketing tool in this industry. I think of other industries where mascots are huge. They're actually really really big. This industry, they're not. Why do you think that is? And why did Showdown actually decide to go with a mascot? I know you sort of touched upon that earlier, but I want to hear the entire story.
Well, and they're interrelated, actually, I believe. Oh, you know, I've already told how long I'm in the industry for you, but I spent a lot of time watching that late 70s, early 80s TV growing up,
Hmm.
which brought with it a number of mascots. Everyone can remember, probably most notably, the Kool-Aid Man who would
Of
crash through
course.
different walls and the like. So I had
Hey,
I
hey.
guess,
And it was that hey, hey, or I forget what the tagline was. But yeah, yeah, of
yeah.
course I remember
So,
that.
I was predisposed already to something like that, where you could interact and personify the brand. And then the fact that there really weren't any other mascots in the industry. Not to say there haven't been some
Hmm.
have come and gone with smaller brands, but we felt as though that there was an
Hmm.
opening in the marketplace for a personality to evolve and to gain some traction with our
Mhm.
reseller partners. And the other part about this was, as I mentioned, these little um, handouts that we had, we started creating ways for engagement with our reseller partners
Mhm.
from this. So we actually started a campaign called "Where in the World is Dash,"
Mhm.
which allowed our reseller partners to actually take photos of themselves with
Yep.
a Dash figurine, and then they could post that. And then once a quarter, we would draw for a financial or a monetary reward to continue that engagement. And Dash has been some pretty crazy spaces, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to bring up some. I grabbed some pictures off of your social media. I know you sent me some. So over here we have Dash, as you can see in the bottom corner. For those who are just listening, he is in the they or whoever
Dash.
the ninja is in the Cape of Good Hope, the most southwestern point of the African continent. So you can see Dash. I think is that the crushing Dash? Which Dash is that? Looks like he's
That is actually the fourth Dash, which I haven't shown you this one. There is a Dash plushie
oh
that we
okay.
created, which was a limited edition. So that's what's actually right there.
And then we have Dash in his Zen mode here. Looks like he's
That
on a rocky coast of maybe
Lake
New England.
Superior.
Oh, is
Lake,
it
Sup-
Lake Superior?
yeah,
Okay,
Lake Superior. We were up there for strategic planning, and Dash joined us for that.
nice. And then you have Dash at Pikes Peak,
Sure.
again in his Zen moment of relaxation. Again, here's Pikes Peak, 14,000 feet. Zen Dash there having a moment. And then we have Zen. It looks like maybe Pikes Peak again. He's got a little
Actually,
shovel
I
there.
think that one is just we received a heavy dose
Oh,
of
okay.
snow a year ago, and Dash got out there and got to work so people could get back to their offices.
And being in Minnesota, I'm sure
You run into a lot
Dash
of
gets
that.
a lot of work out in the wintertime. And I also love this one. This one is basically you're utilizing Dash in notifications that you post on your social media. So you have Dash. He's wrapped in a Minnesota Wild. I don't know if that's like a scarf or something, but you're basically saying limited production on February 23rd due to severe winter weather. So you're integrating your mascot in with your messaging on your social media. So yeah, that's what I really love about this. Dash isn't just a mascot that you see at the shows. He's really entrenched into your marketing. People know him, and I also really liked the fact that you do this campaign like Dash in the Wild, where you have your employees doing. It reminds me of something that was really big, I think, 80s and 90s, called Flat Stanley, where
Yeah.
kids in like grade school, uh, they would get like this flat piece, this flat person made out of paper, and they would take Stanley to different places, wherever they went on vacation or whatever, and they would take pictures, or they would send letters from Stanley to family members, to whoever, and it kind of reminds me of that. It just it takes your marketing to the next level when you integrate your employees into the fun of social media. And I've seen this before. You guys aren't the first ones that have done this. I've seen other companies do this, but I really enjoy it. I think it's cool. It gets the employees involved in the social media, and even if you got your customers, you can get your customers to do the same thing. But when you have employee advocacy, uh, you have your employees doing these things, it really kind of brings home the message of Showdown Displays and your marketing.
Well, it really is. It's intended to embed, the authenticity in it. I mean, if you're going to go down the path of a mascot, I don't think you can just pop it up once a year and say that's our mascot. It needs to be part of who your identity is, and it needs to be part of how you behave with your clients on a day in day basis. Here's a great example of that. Yesterday was the opening day for NHL preseason.
Right.
So I'm wearing for you today our Dash hockey jersey, which you can see we've incorporated that into just another way to engage our employees
Sure.
in the whole brand, and of course take advantage of the time of year when, for Minnesota, which is the state of hockey,
Sure.
the kickoff of hockey season is a big deal for all of us here.
Yeah, and that's awesome. We talked about this before we went live. I'm a big hockey fan, and that jersey is. I would wear that for sure. I mean, if you sent me one, who knows? I might wear one of those. I'm a big hockey jersey fan too. I feel like jerseys they pervade just into fashion as well. And people wear them. Oh, look, we've got a special guest,
Look who's joined us today.
Dash.
Dash is here
I
just to
love
make
it.
sure the power of mascots comes through in real life and in real person.
I love it. So, Dash, do you speak, or are you somebody who? No. Well, that's hey. I was just at Disneyland with my kids, and none of the characters speak. They all do the hand motions. But this is awesome. It's great to see that we've got Dash actually on the live stream today. But yeah, show us some moves, Dash. Show us the Zen Dash. I like it. How about the crushing dash? The arm slam down. Oh, he's got some moves here. So you're not able to reveal who's in that dash costume, Kevin?
I cannot. I'm not at liberty to announce that today, but it actually works out that Dash can't speak because ninjas can't speak. So it works out doubly as a mascot and as a ninja.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your appearance, Dash. I wish I had known. I would have had promo. We could have gotten you guys together. But you guys know each other. You've been to the shows many times, and we now have our new mascot Plus for the ESP Plus product that we have. So I'm sure that you guys are going to get to know Plus very well in the shows to come. But I look forward to seeing you at the next ASI show.
Thanks,
Uh,
Dash.
Dash.
All right.
Take care, Dash. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to bring Dash to this live stream. That really kind of nails home what you guys actually have in your in your mascot. Now I have to ask you about the actual physical mascot that
Sure.
let's say the
Absolutely.
trade show ones. How much do you invest in the maintenance? Creating a costume, is it a lot of work on your part? How many shows does Dash go to a year? Tell me a little bit about the physical mascot.
Well, I would tell you. So in 2017, when this whole concept came about, I fancy myself a bit of a salesperson, and one of those greatest accomplishments was explaining to our CFO what we wanted to do with the mascot costume. And essentially, the response was, "You want to spend how much on a what to do what?" But the reality is that the amortized impact of Dash has been significant. So you can't look at it at just the incoming expense, which is
Sure.
sizable. We purchased a mascot costume, which actually is inflated. As you could
Hmm.
probably hear the fan behind it.
Right.
There are multiple different ways you can do it, but to give that, I'm going to call it jovial look to it,
Hmm.
the kind of the bouncy. We felt that the air inflated one gave us the best look for that. With that comes a power pack inside. There's a set of fans, which can be very hot. We talked about that before.
Okay. Right.
Um, and it also does take some time in terms of where you can use it because the battery packs stay powered for a limited amount of time.
Okay. Okay.
So we bring Dash now to 3 shows a year. And then there are select occasions where Dash will appear um, intermittently for regional associations
Sure.
and or other events that might be going on. If there happens to be a employee event here or a customer event, Dash can make appearances here on premise as well.
Okay.
So I don't know if I could give you a figure other than to tell you it's well into the 5 figures
Okay.
annually for us to manage that. And just from a travel standpoint, from a
Hmm.
maintenance standpoint, and from a talent standpoint, because you'll need to
Sure.
find talent who can work inside.
So it's an invest. It is a significant investment. So conversely, how has, in your estimation, how has Dash impacted your brand?
Oh, Dash has been fantastic for our brand. The level of engagement with our customers at events is one area, but I would tell you that the level of engagements with our customers throughout the year, especially on social media, has been extraordinarily rewarding for us. And it takes a large organization like Showdown with 500 plus employees, and it personifies it into a single
Sure.
entity, which allows our customers to really identify with us, and also it allows us to put our personality into that
Sure.
one identity as well. So it really has been a great combination for us.
Yeah, I love that. You guys have come up with the perfect mascot. Like you said, you explained it all earlier. About the ninja, the silent partner, Dash being a swift ninja-like entity into your company perfectly encapsulates what you do there, and the mascot itself is going to resonate and stay top of mind with customers, with competitors. They're going to all remember, hey, they've got that Dash mascot, and you got giveaways. You give them to your customers. They're going to have those promotional products with them. They're going to remember you, and I think that look, it's a price. It sounds like it's a pricey investment, but it looks like it's the ROI has paid off for sure.
Well, it's hard to measure, right?
Right, of
It's very
course.
difficult to measure the overall impact. But when our clients are sending us photos of their desk assortment, showing their computer, their coffee, their mouse, and Dash is sitting right next to them, it's harder to be more top of mind for a client than being right on their desk.
Sure.
And having these type of entities that can help remind them of that on a day-to-day basis is fantastic.
Absolutely. So I have a couple more questions for you, Kevin. Again,
Sure.
we're talking to Kevin Walsh from Showdown Displays. We're talking about mascots. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll try to get to them today. Or if not, we can get them to them after the chat. All right. So look, Dash has been part of your trade show for, since 2018. You got any good Dash stories at the trade shows? Any of the physical mascot stories?
We spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I think universally the staff anyways came up with a single event which really had a lot of impact on those of us who got to participate in it. And this was at the PPAI Expo in 2022. So just coming back
Recently,
out,
yeah.
coming back out of COVID, there was limited audiences that were
Sure.
attending shows and the like. And I had the opportunity to go on and speak about the show, the staff that was, the attendees that have been there, and how, as a supplier, Showdown was feeling about the expo. So I did that. And if you're familiar with the expo broadcast booth, it's a big glass booth.
Mm-hmm.
So I had worked it out with our marketing team ahead of time that Dash would come in and crash the interview. It's kind of like what we did here,
Right.
but
Right.
I'd play it straight the entire time as if nothing was there. So the host was asking me the questions and I was deadpanning it all the way through. And in the meantime, in the background, Dash is doing Dash's stuff.
Right.
And the house was coming down laughing, and I was doing my best to stay deadpan, which I think I did.
Right. Right.
And to this day, I remember the interviewee asking me how I was able to keep my a straight face.
Right.
Truth be told, I knew it was going to happen, so it helped.
Yeah, I'm sure that anybody who spends any time in in a mascot costume or around mascots, I can imagine some of the crazy stories that can come out. Like we mentioned the Disney characters. What kind of awful behavior have they seen? What kind of great things have they seen? Like when you're a mascot, you're going to just draw a ton of attention, and that's really by design. That's what you want. You want the attention, but sometimes with attention comes a lot of strange behavior, a lot of fun behavior, a lot of great stories. So yeah, that's a really good one. But you knew that Dash was there, right?
I did.
And
Yes.
you
Yep.
and you intentionally were going to deadpan.
Yep. Yep. We did that on purpose because then it came across really as the I'm going to call it playful brand that we like to be, which is stuff's going on in the background, even though business is getting taken care of.
Hmm. That's
One
awesome.
other thing I would tell you that's been really interesting about Dash is goes beyond the industry. As you know, with our Orlando Convention Center or with Mandalay Bay, there's other audiences that are in those venues when we're there for shows.
Hmm.
And it is always been amazing to me to see the interest that individuals have of all ages, but certainly younger children have in a mascot and how they gravitate to the
Sure.
brand and want to have their photos taken with or want to meet Dash. So
Hmm.
it really is fun to see that, which is, I think, a clear indication that mascots can help you win over consumers and your customers through that magnetism that they have.
Right, right. And I agree 100%. Kids just gravitate toward mascots. Um, I hate to beat a dead horse, but when I watch my son at Disneyland, it's just like he just dashes for the mascot. It's like he goes right for him. And yeah, I mean they draw attention. That's their their whole nature is to draw attention. Now, my final question to you, Kevin, and it's kind of a loaded question. What advice would you give to a business that is thinking about creating a mascot and integrating it into their marketing and branding? Like, what advice? Like, what are some of the you should probably really think this through before you act, right?
Uh, it's a great question, and I've alluded to this as we've talked throughout our meeting, but I would be very deliberate. Anyone who would ask me, I would say this is not a whim. If you
Right.
truly want customers to gravitate to your brand through a mascot, then you need to make a concerted effort on how you are going to build that up, and then sustain it.
Hmm.
Often talk about social media accounts the same way. If you're just going to put up a social media account
Of
and then not
course.
do anything with it, then it really doesn't have any merit for you to do.
Sure.
But if you're truly interested in integrating a mascot into your marketing plan, I would start very much like we did, which is let's create the image and why.
Hmm.
What's the underlying drivers behind that? What is the message you're trying to convey to your customers? Is it that you're their silent partner? Is it that you're fast and you want to execute behind the scenes? What is it? Those core competencies that you want to
Sure.
communicate. Then personify that, and
Right.
then begin to build that one step at a time before fully introducing it as a real life stand up mascot.
And I think that earlier in this episode, you basically broke it down perfectly about how Showdown Displays before you had Dash, you really kind of conceptualized what it is Showdown Displays did for their businesses. You were a silent partner with your customers. You were the behind the scenes partner. What what personification would be perfect for your company? A ninja. And that's sort of how this evolved. And I think any type of brand in this industry or outside the industry has to also think the same way. What is that one perfect image that is our company? And for a lot of companies, it's not that easy to do. You have to really think it through. You have to take your time. And if you're going to invest in it, don't, like you said, don't create it first and then like try to wheel it back. Like social media, people create their social media profiles, realize that they don't have the time, they don't have the content, but they sort of put the cart before the horse. You have to really kind of research, invest in what it is that encapsulates your brand, personifies it, and it can be a lot of work.
I really think that you just touched on it, but it really is going back to what is the strategic imperatives you have, what is your competitive advantage in the marketplace, and then how can you personify that through a mascot? And then if you can take those elements and incorporate it into a mascot, it's not going to feel foreign to your clients. They're going to understand
Right.
because those same values are going to come through in that mascot that you've integrated into your marketing campaign.
Well said, Kevin. Um, so before we leave, I'll give you a chance to give contact information for anyone who wants to reach out to you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you can always reach me at Showdown Displays, K Walsh, KWALSH, at showdowndisplays.com. It's probably the easiest place. Or you can always dial us at 888-376-7469. And this week, we're having a little bit more fun. It is Talk Like a Pirate Week last week, so we have one more week of where you can listen to our message, your selection on your phone tree being talked in pirate, if you so choose.
I love it. I love that you guys have this very down to earth, fun style. Like you said earlier, business is important, but you don't take yourself as seriously. It's have fun. It's right on your social media. Go down the Showdown Displays, check out their social media. You'll find Dash. He's a big part of your social media, not only in Facebook but Instagram and other networks. You'll see Dash everywhere, even on your website. And anyone
Absolutely.
who's gotten any marketing from Showdown Displays will also see Dash. But again, Kevin, this has been great. I love learning about this angle of marketing. I think it's important. If you're going to do it, you have to do it right. So many businesses in this industry don't have a mascot, and they don't have social media either. They're small businesses, but for businesses who have the resources, I think from what I've been talking to you about, I think it's worth the investment.
Well, not only that, you'll have an opportunity to see Dash once again at the ASI Orlando show in January, and following that immediately at the PPAI Expo. So a couple opportunities within the next 6 months where you can see Dash in person.
Awesome. All right, Kevin, thanks again for joining me today. For Kevin, I'm Vinny. We'll see you next time on The Social Angle.
Be great today.